Welcome, lords and ladies, to the heart of the Seven Kingdoms, King's Landing. Today, beneath the shadow of the Iron Throne, the greatest warriors in Westeros gather for glory, honor, and immortality. From the frozen fury of the north to the burning sands of dawn, legends, killers, and kings will clash in the ultimate test of steel and skill. No politics, no dragons, no mercy, only the blade and the will to wield it. 48 champions, one crown. This is the Colossal tournament at King's Landing. These 48 champions are some of the best the world has ever seen. Names carved in history, now bound by fate and the sound of steel. The time for talk is over. Let the Colossal tournament begin. And now, the opening bout of the day brings two men of honor, born in different centuries, bound by destiny and the sword. Representing the storied Kingsguard of old, a man whose valor nearly turned the tide of rebellion itself, Sir Gawain Corbray, and his challenger, the White Wolf of the North, bastard turned brother, traitor turned legend, Jon Snow. Steel against steel, knight against crow, past against present. Who stands taller when the dust settles? The Silver Knight of the Red Grass, or the White Wolf of the Wall? Gawain Corbray versus Jon Snow. Let the fight begin! Jon Snow strikes first. Back and forth they strike, these two. Oh! Gawain draws blood first. The bastard of Winterfell isn't slowing down, though. This is why we're here, people. Oh! Gawain strikes back. This one is heating up, folks. Oh, there goes Gawain's shield. That's got to affect his chances now. He's not giving up, though. Snow keeps landing strikes. Now he's got Corbray pinned against the wall. This is a dangerous situation. Gawain draws blood again. Snow knocked Lady Forlorn from his hands. Gawain's not stopping. By the seven gods, it's over. The bastard of Winterfell pulls it off, beating out Sir Gawain Corbray of the Kingsguard. Jon Snow will be advancing to round two. And now, lords and ladies, brace yourselves. The ground trembles. The crowd holds its breath. For what enters this arena is no man, but a mountain made flesh, standing over 8 feet tall, feared from the Reach to the Red Keep, Sir Gregor Clegane. And facing him, no shining knight, no lord in gold, just one man with quick feet, quicker wit, and the habit of surviving what should have killed him 10 times over, Bronn of the Blackwater. One fights with technique, the other fights with terror. When the bell tolls, there will be no mercy, only survival. Gregor Clegane versus Bronn. Let the fight begin. The mountain strikes, but Bronn strikes back. Bronn connects, and the mountain dodges. Oh, the mountain draws blood. It's a miracle he didn't cut him in half. Strike after strike. Oh, the mountain counters and slices along Bronn's neck. This doesn't look good, folks. Bronn isn't giving up, though. Oh, with a solid thrust, the mountain brings him down. This one is all over, folks. The mountain that rides wins in a convincing fashion, putting the sellsword into the ground. Sir Gregor Clegane will be advancing to round two. Our next duel brings fire and frost face to face. From the blood of the dragon himself, a man of iron discipline, known for his temper and his unmatched strength on the field of battle. Few have stood before him and walked away whole. King Maekar Targaryen. And from beyond the wall comes his challenger, the man who united 1,000 clans under one banner. Mance Rayder, the king beyond the wall. Two kings from two worlds, one born to rule, the other born to rise. Maekar Targaryen versus Mance Rayder. Let the fight begin! Both fighters circle. Mance swings. Mance dodges. Boom, they both exchange blows. Mance strikes with fury. And they both exchange blows again. Here we go, folks. Back and forth they strike, slamming steel into each other's shields. All it takes is a single mistake. Mance counters, slamming his pommel into Maekar's face. This might be the most even matchup we've had yet. Look at these two go. Mance knocks the anvil back, but look at this. Maekar knocks Mance back now. Mance counters again, slicing Maekar along his chest. This is as real as it gets, folks. Only one can move on. Mance counters again, pushing the anvil back. Mance spins them both around and dodges. Maekar shatters Mance's shield. Mance is desperate, pushing Maekar back once more. Maekar blocks again, misses. Oh! The anvil strike lands, sending the king beyond the wall to the ground. The anvil wins a very even, hard-fought victory. King Maekar Targaryen will be advancing to round 2. Next up, the seas clash with the snow from the Iron Islands, the terror of the western waves, breaker of hulls, and a man said to fear neither fire nor steel, Victarion Greyjoy. And across from him, from beyond the wall, forged in the frost and flame of the true north, he commands warriors who eat the weak and worship strength alone, the Magnar of Thenn, steer! Salt meets snow, raider meets warlord, and only one will stand tall beneath the Red Keep. Victarion Greyjoy versus Steyr Magnar. Let the fight begin! Folks, this one won't be for the faint-hearted. Steyr swings, but Victarion blocks. Steyr swings again. The Kraken's shield seems to be holding strong. Greyjoy swings his axe and makes contact. Here we go. Back and forth they strike. Steyr loses his axe. He's not giving up, taking swing after swing. Victarion swinging wildly. Oh, it's over. Victarion sends the wildling to the ground. The Kraken wins with an overwhelming victory. Victarion Greyjoy will be advancing to round 2. Hold on to your seats, folks. The next clash is one for the ages. On one side of the arena, the legendary dragon rider herself, sister queen to Aegon the Conqueror, wielder of Dark Sister, the fiery fury of House Targaryen, Visenya Targaryen. Standing against her from the fighting pits of Meereen, a mountain of muscle and pride, a man who's never met a blade he didn't laugh at, strong Belwaz. One fights for glory, the other is legend. Brawn versus Blood of the Dragon. Visenya Targaryen versus strong Belwaz. Let the fight begin! Here we go, folks! Belwaz swings, but she strikes back. Back and forth they strike, steel hitting shield. Oh, Belwaz is off balance. Visenya swings, misses. Belwaz misses. Oh, Visenya's strike lands. And she draws blood. Belwaz knocks her off balance. Each of them looking for the right moment. Back and forth they... Oh! Visenya makes contact again. She's on the offensive now. Belwaz stumbles. Oh, now Belwas hits armor. Gods, folks, this one is heating up. Visenya's swinging wildly. This fight could go either way. All it takes is a single mistake. Belwas makes contact again, but she's backing him up to the wall. Oh, she knocks him down. It's over. What a fight. I can't believe it. Queen Visenya Targaryen will be advancing to round 2. Next up, 2 men forged by storm and sorrow. In one corner, the pride of Storm's End, a knight whose strength shook the lists of Westeros, the laughing storm himself, Lionel Baratheon. And facing him, the exiled bear of Bear Island, once a knight of Westeros, now a man tempered by exile and redemption, Sir Jorah Mormont. It's the storm versus the bear, raw power against relentless will. 2 warriors of unmatched heart, each carrying the weight of their names into the arena. Lionel Baratheon versus Jorah Mormont. Let the fight begin. Jorah strikes first. Lionel thrusts, but Jorah thrusts back almost as fast. It sounds like Lionel is laughing, folks. I guess that's why he's called the Laughing Storm. Lionel swings again and again, just looking for a killing blow. Mormont isn't quitting, though. Lionel swings. Jorah swings once, twice. And Lionel's strike hits armor. Jorah shatters the stag's shield. Lionel thrusts, but Jorah moves like gusts of wind. Lionel's got him against the wall. He swings. Oh, and Jorah counters. Jorah draws blood. And Jorah counters again. This one is coming down to the wire. Back and forth they strike. Gods, this is unbelievable. Oh, Jorah gets past his guard, bringing the Laughing Storm to the ground. Unbelievable, he did it. Jorah Mormont will be advancing to round 2. Now this is a matchup for the mad and the mighty. In one corner, a name whispered like a curse from the days of the Kingswood Brotherhood. A man who fought for blood, not glory. Said to laugh as he killed and grin as he bled, the Smiling Knight. And across from him, the wildling legend himself, the man who claimed to have bedded a bear and lived to brag about it, Tormund Giantsbane. One fights for chaos, the other for the sheer joy of the clash. It's madness versus mirth, bloodlust versus bravery. The Smiling Knight versus Tormund Giantsbane. Let the fight begin. The Smiling Knight strikes first, but only found Tormund's shield. The Smiling Knight drew blood. Tormund strikes back, hitting the knight's armor. The Smiling Knight makes contact again. Tormund strikes over and over, but the Smiling Knight blocks every swing. Now the Smiling Knight is on the offensive, but Tormund's shield is making it difficult. Oh, Tormund draws blood now. I don't know if the knight's still smiling now. He swings back, hitting Tormund in the shoulder. And again, Giantsbane's fur is soaked in blood. Tormund's back on the offensive. He doesn't look like he'll let up. Back and forth they go again. Oh, Tormund draws blood again. What a bloodbath this one is turning into. Neither men willing to give an inch. The Smiling Knight loses his balance. Tormund strikes. The Smiling Knight strikes back. Tormund again. Oh! He cleaves the Smiling Knight, sending him to the ground. I can't believe it. Tormund Giantsbane proves the Free Folk are worthy and will be advancing to round 2. Next into the arena, a duel of strength, honor and unyielding will. In one corner, the Lady of Tarth herself, a warrior unmatched in skill and resolve, sworn to her oaths and relentless in battle, Brienne of Tarth. And across from her, the towering Lord of the North, a giant of a man, as fierce as the snows of his homeland, and as unbreakable as the walls of Last Hearth, Great Jon Umber. It's steel against strength, skill against size, honor against raw fury. Brienne of Tarth versus Great Jon Umber. Let the fight begin! Brienne thrusts. Wow, that was close! Great Jon hits armor! Look at Brienne, move so nonchalant! She looks like she's done this 100 times! Oh, Brienne of Tarth has drawn blood! Brienne blocks. Back and forth, a flurry of strikes. There it is, folks! We've got ourselves a fight! Brienne draws blood again as she pushes the Great Jon back toward the arena stairs. The Great Jon just can't seem to get on the offensive. People, I don't know if we give Brienne enough credit. The She-Knight from Tarth is making a fool out of the Great Jon. Oh, the Great Jon counters. Is this his chance? He counters, spinning them around. How is she doing this? Oathkeeper is always where it needs to be. Great Jon tries to push back, but Brienne doesn't even move. Jon knocks her off balance. Gods, this woman is something else. Great Jon counters again. She strikes gods. She knocks the Great Jon down. Incredible! She did it! Brienne of Tarth will be advancing to round 2. And just like that, the opening day of the Colossal Tournament of King's Landing comes to a thunderous close. And now, the first clash of the day brings 2 killers cut from very different cloth. One of honor, one of madness, representing the storied Riverlands. A commander, a man who held Riverrun against impossible odds. A warrior whose name still commands respect across every shore, Brynden Blackfish Tully. And his challenger, the terror of the islands, Crow's Eye, the pirate who sailed where sane men fear the horizon, returning with whispers of dark powers and blood-soaked victories. Euron Greyjoy, honor against chaos, duty against delirium. A river wolf stands against a storm born of salt and shadow. Brynden Tully versus Euron Greyjoy. Let the fight begin! Euron strikes first, and oh! The Blackfish has drawn blood. Look at these 2 go! Strikes back and forth, axe against blade. Oh, Euron lost his footing. Now the fight is moving up the causeway. The Blackfish knocks Euron back. They're both swinging wildly now. Those people better take a step back. Now Euron's got the Blackfish in the corner. This doesn't look good, folks. But the Blackfish is blocking every strike. This is unbelievable. Gods, it's over! The Blackfish brings his blade across Euron's throat. Even after being backed into a corner, Brynden Tully will be moving on to round 2. And now, a clash of beauty and death. 2 warriors famed not only for skill, but for style. From the burning sands of Dawn, the Red Viper, fast as rumour, deadly as truth. A man whose duels end before most see the strike that kills them. Oberyn Martell! And his challenger, the Knight of Flowers, champion of tourneys, prodigy of the Reach, the Golden Knight whose skill with a lance and blade made him the pride of Highgarden, Loras Tyrell. Grace against venom, beauty against fury. One dances, one strikes, only one walks away. Oberyn Martell versus Loras Tyrell. Let the fight begin. Oberyn Oberyn strikes first, and again, but Loras strikes back. This one should be electric, folks. Oberyn knocks Loras off balance. The Knight of Flowers has him backed against the wall, though. Oh, that strike hit armor. That positioning is sure making it hard for the Red Viper. Back and forth they strike as Oberyn backpedals. At least he's got himself free of the wall. Oh, a huge swing from Oberyn. There goes Loras's shield. Now Loras is swinging wildly, but with a purpose. I'm not sure if Oberyn will get himself out of this one. He's got himself backed into the other wall now. Oh, that was a good thrust. And Loras sidesteps before Oberyn can. He sidesteps again. And a huge blow from the Red Viper. This is getting interesting. And now Loras is pushing him up the causeway. Oh, that was only inches away. They're moving their way back down now. Oberyn takes a hit. Now they're moving up the steps. Oh, a big strike from the Red Viper. A big strike from the Red Viper. Now Loras. Oh, a huge. Oh, and that's it. It's over. What an incredible fight. Oberyn Martell got him right where he wanted him. And we'll be moving on to round 2. Our next bout pits prophecy against discipline, a prince of old Valyria and a soldier shaped by war alone. From the House of the Dragon, the Silver Prince, whose song softened hearts and whose sword cut down those who mistook gentleness for weakness. Rhaegar Targaryen! And standing against him, commander of the Unsullied, trained from childhood, forged through agony, the spear point of armies and the shield of a queen. Grey Worm, romance against rigor, flame against stone. Can prophecy pierce discipline, or does discipline smother destiny? Rhaegar Targaryen versus Grey Worm. Let the fight begin! Rhaegar strikes with fury again and again. He's got Grey Worm pinned along the wall. He misses. Rhaegar strikes. Oh, blood has been drawn. Look at them go. Strike after strike. Rhaegar's really on the offensive here. Rhaegar swings hard. He's really keeping Grey Worm. Oh, a huge thrust. Look at Rhaegar's disposition. Just calm and calculated. The Dragon Prince doesn't even look rattled. Grey Worm needs to get out of this. Grey Worm backpedals. Oh, Rhaegar's strike lands. Is this it, folks? Can Grey Worm come back from that? Rhaegar is just swinging. Grey Worm's strike hits shield. Oh, Rhaegar knocks Grey Worm back. He's still swinging. Oh! Grey Worm knocks him off balance. A few back, and oh! Grey Worm stumbles. Grey Worm hits his helm again. He just can't connect. Is that spear even sharp? Rhaegar strikes and Grey Worm strikes back. Oh! Rhaegar knocks Grey Worm back now. Rhaegar with some heavy strikes. Which one will connect? Oh, and he hits Grey Worm hard, and another. Okay, folks, now we have a fight. Oh, a devastating blow, and a near miss. Wow, that was close. Gods, someone move those people. This one is getting out of hand. Rhaegar stumbles. Grey Worm is backed up as far as he can go. There's no way out. They're both looking for the right moment. Oh! The Dragon Prince strikes down the Unsullied commander! That was an ass-kicking if I've ever seen one! With a one-sided victory, Rhaegar Targaryen will be moving on to round 2. And now, a collision of raw, unstoppable power. The kind that shakes kingdoms. From the frozen north, the Wolf of Winterfell, the Lord who ended rebellions with a single decree and ruled through honor sharper than any blade, Cregan Stark. And across the arena, the great Khal himself, a horse-lord giant whose braid has never been cut and whose enemies have never risen again, Khal Drogo. Ice meets fire without dragons, winter meets the open plains, two titans, only one path forward. Cregan Stark versus Khal Drogo. Let the fight begin. Cregan swings and misses. Oh! Cregan with a heavy strike. Drogo sidesteps. Oh! That thrust nearly misses. Drogo is on the offensive now. Oh! Cregan with another brutal strike, and another. Cregan Stark is swinging away. But the great Khal isn't backing down. This is it, folks. We've got us a clash of titans. Oh! Cregan with another heavy blow. Oh, and he draws blood again. It's almost impossible to defend against a sword like that. But I'll give it to him. Drogo is doing his best at it. Oh! He knocks Drogo back. Drogo is swinging with precision, and Cregan makes contact again. Drogo strikes. Oh! Cregan draws blood again. Back and forth. Oh! The wolf knocks the Khal back. Drogo strikes and Cregan connects again. This is unbelievable. Khal Drogo will not give up. He's even got Cregan backed up to the fence. But it doesn't matter. Cregan cuts down the great Khal Drogo with a decisive victory. Cregan Stark will be moving on to round 2. The next duel pulls us into the shadows, where truth is a weapon and survival is a creed. From the depths of history, the man with 1,000 eyes and one, a marksman, a mystic, and a master of secrets sharp enough to cut, Brynden Bloodraven Rivers. And challenging him, the silent blade of the Watch, a man who taught the wilds to fear him and made the ultimate sacrifice for the realm, Qhorin Halfhand. Guile against grit, shadow against snow. Who prevails when the cold meets the dark? Bloodraven versus Qhorin Halfhand. Let the fight begin! Bloodraven strikes, but Qhorin strikes back! And again! Here we go, folks! These two both know the stakes, and neither is willing to give an inch. I think we're in for a good one, folks! Oh, Bloodraven draws blood, and again! Gods! This one isn't going to last long at this rate. I can't believe he's still up! The Halfhand is on the offensive now. This is his chance. Can he get it done? Qhorin strikes. Bloodraven having Dark Sister might be the difference maker here. Oh! A single thrust to the neck, and Qhorin Halfhand is on the ground. The bastard of House Blackfyre made that one look easy. Bloodraven will be moving on to round 2. Our next duel pits bright steel against star-forged fury. Two blades whose names echo across the 7 kingdoms. First, the gallant knight of Highgarden, humble, deadly, calm as still water, until the fighting begins, Garland Tyrell! And opposite him, the man who boasts he's of the night, and the most dangerous outlaw in Dawn, Gerald Darkstar Dayne! Honor against infamy, control against chaos. Who holds the advantage when skill meets savagery? Garland Tyrell versus Gerald Dayne. Let the fight begin! Dayne strikes first, but Garland thrusts back. This one could get interesting, folks. Dayne moves and makes contact. Dayne's got him backed up now. Can Garland get himself out? Oh, a huge strike shatters Garland's shield. Garland Tyrell is swinging some ferocious strikes. And he connects. Oh, watching some masterful swordplay here, folks. Dayne connects again, but Garland strikes back, and again. Here we go. Garland is swinging wildly. Dayne hits armor again. There you have it, folks. We've got ourselves a fight. Strike after strike. Nothing is putting either man down. I do sense some hesitation, though, folks. That won't help either of them. Dayne knocks Garland back. Garland draws blood, and again. But Dayne isn't backing down. I just don't know if Gerald can compete here, folks. Garland is giving it everything he's got. But Dayne is striking back. Oh, is this it? Is this Dayne's moment? Garland's got Darkstar backed up to the wall and isn't giving an inch. A miss, and he strikes. Oh, huge strike from Garland. Dayne thrusts. Oh, across the throat. It's over. Dayne crumbles. Garland Tyrell fought like a man possessed and will be moving on to round 2. And now, a clash torn straight from the heart of history. A tyrant born of chaos against the king who forged a world. The last from the Blackfyre line. The man with 2 faces, 2 natures, and a single purpose. To crush anything in his path. Maelys the Monstrous! And his challenger, the Dragonlord, who reshaped Westeros with fire and will. The first king of the Targaryen dynasty. Aegon Targaryen, the Conqueror! Mutiny against monarchy, madness against destiny. This is a dual history itself. Could never imagine. Maelys the Monstrous versus Aegon Targaryen. Let the fight begin. Aegon strikes first, but Maelys isn't even phased. I guess they don't call him the Monstrous for no reason. Maelys strikes over and over. He'd love nothing more than to cut the Conqueror down. Aegon is on the offensive now. Look at how calculated they are, folks. Aegon's got Maelys backed up to the wall. But Maelys looks as calm as he can be. But that's not saying much. Oh, Aegon connected with that one. But Maelys is swinging with a crazed fury. Aegon isn't giving him a chance to breathe. Back and forth they... Oh, Aegon draws blood. This doesn't look good, folks. Oh, it's over. Aegon planted Blackfyre into the last of that line. Aegon the Conqueror puts down Maelys the Monstrous and will be moving on to round 2. Our final clash of the day brings 2 masters of the blade, one silent, one singing. From Sunspear, the immovable guardian of House Martell, whose watch never falters, whose strength never wavers. Areo Horta! And stepping against him, the first sword of Bravos, the man who made death wait and taught a Stark girl to stand tall, Syrio Forel. Stillness against speed, discipline against dance. A storm of steel meets a single, unstoppable swing. Areo Hotar versus Syrio Forel. Let the fight begin.
See you in hell!
Areo strikes first, but Syrio hits right back. The first sword of Bravos. Oh! Areo draws blood first. Syrio is swinging wildly, which is unlike him. Areo must have him rattled. Areo knocks him back. Wow, is he strong? But Syrio is moving him back now. Oh! Areo draws blood once more. This doesn't look good for Syrio, folks. Those swings are ferocious. Can he hang on? Wow! What a thrust from Areo! Syrio isn't giving up, though! The first sword of Bravos is proving his name! Oh! Syrio shatters Areo's shield! Is this his? Oh! Areo cuts him down! It's over! The first sword of Bravos falls, and Areo Hotar will be moving on to round 2. And just like that, the second day of the Colossal Tournament of King's Landing comes to a roaring end. 8 more battles, 8 more warriors stepping forward into round 2. Let's look back at the chaos, the glory, and the legends carved into the dust of this arena. And now, the first clash of the day brings 2 warriors shaped by destiny, one born to conquer, one born to endure, representing the legacy of the Black Dragons, the man who nearly split the realm in 2 with nothing but charisma, courage, and the might of Blackfyre itself, Daemon Blackfyre, and his challenger, the White Wolf of the North, forged at the wall, tempered in war, and hardened by sacrifice beyond counting, Jon Snow. Fire against frost, dynasty against duty. A dragon's heir stands against the North's chosen son. Daemon Blackfyre versus Jon Snow. Let the fight begin. Ice and fire will meet here. Daemon strikes first, but Jon strikes back. Back and forth they... Oh, Daemon draws blood again! Daemon Blackfyre is swinging with precision, but the White Wolf isn't giving up. Jon strikes, but I don't know how many. Oh, Daemon strikes him down. It's over. Jon Snow was unable to stand up to the king who bore the sword. Daemon Blackfyre will be moving on to round 3. And now, a clash carved from nightmare and memory. 2 brothers bound by hate, scars, and the fires of their past. Representing House Clegane, the brute, the butcher, the mountain that rides. Gregor Clegane! And his challenger, the Hound, a man who has stared into the flames and refused to break. Sandor Clegane! Monster against monster, brother against brother. The fires of childhood return, and only one beast walks out. Gregor Clegane versus Sandor Clegane. Let the fight begin. Here we go, brother versus brother. Sandor strikes, and again. Oh, the Hound connects, and again. People have been waiting for this for years. It's official, folks. Clegane Ball is here. Back and forth they go. Sandor is cornering Gregor now. Will the mountain be able to get out of this? Wow! Heavy strikes from the mountain, but the Hound is giving it right back. Oh! Sandor draws blood. Gods, this is unbelievable. Blow after blow, and neither of them are giving up. It looks like Gregor has finally got himself free, but Sandor isn't even giving him a chance. There's decades of hate there, folks, all waiting for this moment. Sandor connects again. I don't know if anything will bring the mountain down. Sandor counters and strikes again. It doesn't matter what the mountain does. The Hound seems to always be one step ahead. Sandor's got him backed up to the other wall now. A hard strike. Sandor with a thrust. Oh, he struck his brother down. It's over. The mountain that rides no more. Sandor Clegane will be moving on to round 3. And now, a battle between 2 legends tied by oath, fate, and a history written in blood. Representing the gallant knight of the 7 kingdoms, a humble squire raised to greatness, the towering shield of the realm, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his challenger, a prince of fire and iron, a warrior who carved victory from rebellion and war, King Maekar Targaryen. Knight against king, oath against legacy, a towering shield stands against Targaryen fire. Duncan the Tall versus Maekar Targaryen. Let the fight begin! Dunk strikes first, and again! Wow! Those strikes are ferocious! Maekar misses. That mace just might not have the range he needs. Maekar is as solid as his shield. Back and forth they strike. Wow, that was close. Oh, Dunk knocks him back now. More thunderous strikes. But Maekar isn't backing down. The anvil's on the offensive now. Maekar dodges again, but the length of that mace isn't helping him. Oh, Dunk connects. The Hedge Knight is fighting like a machine, folks. Oh, Maekar lands a shot. Now Dunk. Oh, Maekar lands another. Oh, well, there you have it, folks. Now we've got ourselves a fight. Oh, they both stumble. Dunk strikes, but Maekar strikes back. Oh, Dunk misses by just inches. Maekar strikes. Oh, and he sidesteps again. Oh, Dunk draws blood. But the anvil isn't backing down. Maekar's got him backed up to the wall. How will this affect the Hedge Knight's chances? And he knocks Maekar back again. But Maekar's back on the offensive again. Dunk fakes him out, and he connects again. He's off balance. Maekar connects. Oh, but Dunk knocks the anvil back again. This really could go either way, folks. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Dunk misses again, but Maekar is keeping him cornered. That's got to be his best strategy at this point. He sidesteps in time. One of these men will be moving on. Who has what it takes? Maekar's swinging wildly now, but Dunk knocks him back again. All it takes is a single strike, and Dunk connects. It's over. That fight was incredible. The Hedge Knight puts the anvil down. Duncan the Tall will be moving on to round 3. And now, 2 titans of battle face off. One a reaver from Salt and Storm, the other a knight whose name rings through centuries, representing the Iron Islands, a warlord forged by waves and war, the captain of the Iron Fleet, Victarion Greyjoy, and his challenger, a man who won tourney after tourney with skill matched by few in history, Sir Ryam Redwine. Salt against steel, Reaver against legend. The might of the Iron Fleet stands against the pride of the Reach. Victarion Greyjoy versus Ryam Redwine. Let the fight begin! Ryam strikes first, but Victarion is locked in, and he makes contact. Ryam with some quick strikes, but Victarion misses. Victarion knocks the Kingsguard back, and he draws blood. Ryam hits shield. Oh no! Ryam has lost his sword. Victarion's swinging wildly. This isn't good. Oh, it's over. The Iron Captain cuts down Ryam Redwine, and with that, Victarion Greyjoy will be moving on to round 3. And now, a duel worthy of the history books. A clash of Targaryen greatness from 2 very different ages. Representing the Kingsguard of old, the chivalrous, the unmatched, the Dragon Knight himself, Prince Aemon Targaryen, and his challenger, Conqueror, Queen, and wielder of Dark Sister, Visenya Targaryen. Honor against conquest, chivalry against fire, brother of legend against the queen who built an empire. Aemon the Dragon Knight versus Visenya Targaryen. Let the fight begin. 2 dragons meet face to face. Aemon connects with the first strike, but Visenya's striking back again. But Aemon answers. Back and forth they go. 2 of the fiercest Targaryens in history. Look at these 2 go. One strike after another. Which dragon is going to achieve their destiny? This one is as even as it gets so far. Only one can move on to the next round. Oh, she's off balance, and Aemon stumbles. These 2 are swinging wildly. Here we go. I do have to commend Visenya though, folks. She is up against one of the greatest swordsmen in history, and she isn't fazed a bit. I guess that's why she's only one of 2 women in the entire tournament. Visenya was never known for showing fear. Oh, he knocks her off balance again, but Visenya isn't backing down, not for a second, and she sidesteps. Aemon swings quickly, and Visenya knocks him back. Visenya is giving it everything she's got, but the Dragon Knight sure isn't making it easy. This is unbelievable, and he connects. She just wasn't quick enough on that one. She knocks him off balance. Is this her chance? All it takes is the right swing. Aemon stumbles. Visenya strikes, and he knocks her back again. Gods, folks, this one is coming down to the wire. Anything could happen here. Wow, that was close. She connects. Oh, the Dragon Knight cuts Visenya down. Wow, what a fight. Aemon Targaryen will be moving on to round 3. And now, the field welcomes 2 men who upheld honor even when the world offered them none. Representing the North and Essos alike, a knight who earned redemption, blade by blade, Sir Jorah Mormont, and his challenger, the Golden Prince of the realm, beloved by nobles and small folk alike, Prince Baelor Breakspear. Experience against promise, exile against prince. 2 hearts heavy with duty meet in a clash of pure steel. Jorah Mormont versus Baelor Breakspear. Let the fight begin! Jorah swings first with an overhead strike, again! But Baelor strikes back. Now Jorah, Baelor again! Wow, these guys are just teeing off on each other. I think we could be in for a good one here. Baelor connects, again! And Jorah's off balance, but Jorah draws blood. Oh, and he shatters Baelor's shield! But Baelor isn't letting that affect him. Now we've got some calculated strikes. Both of these men are looking for the right moment. Jorah draws blood again. Now Baelor, is this his chance? Oh, Jorah's strike lands. It's over. The exiled knight from the north continues to defy the odds. Jorah Mormont will be moving on to round 3. And now, a collision of pure force. 2 conquerors of wildly different worlds, representing House Targaryen, the tyrant, the warrior king, who left a trail of broken houses in his wake, Maegor the Cruel, and his challenger, a raider, a giant slayer, a legend told around every northern campfire, Tormund Giantsbane. Fire against frost, cruelty against chaos. A tyrant meets a wildling who refuses to kneel. Maegor the Cruel versus Tormund Giantsbane. Let the fight begin. Maegor strikes first, but Tormund strikes like a madman. Maegor strikes, but Tormund isn't backing down. His aggressive fighting style may serve him well here. Oh, Tormund draws blood. He's really on the offensive here. Now they're moving up the steps. This is getting interesting now, folks. Gods, someone move those people back. Tormund with a huge strike. They're getting close to the edge. This could end horrifically, folks. They're both swinging wildly. There's no stopping these 2. Maegor draws blood. Gods, they both stumble. This is getting dangerous. Now they're backing up toward us. I'm getting out of here. This could get out of hand fast. Gods, they're right by the edge. 7 gods. They both fell, but they aren't stopping. This might be the most incredible fight I've ever witnessed. Tormund connects again. You have to commend him against someone as fearsome as Maegor the Cruel. Maegor stumbles. Now I sense a little hesitation. That fall may have affected Maegor more than we realise. And Tormund isn't letting up. Oh, huge strike for Tormund. Could he upset the Cruel King? Maegor sidesteps. Tormund's got him backed up again. Gods, it's over. Tormund cut him down. What a fight. That might be the most incredible fight these eyes have witnessed. Tormund Giantsbane will be moving on to round 3. And now, the final clash of the day brings 2 champions defined by discipline, devotion, and deadly skill, representing the Sapphire Isle. A knight in all but name, a warrior of unmatched resolve, Brienne of Tarth, and her challenger, the Kingmaker himself, a knight whose blade shifted the tides of succession and war, Sir Criston Cole. Honour against ambition, oath against judgment. 2 immovable wills collide beneath the eyes of the realm. Brienne of Tarth versus Criston Cole. Let the fight begin. Brienne strikes first, and again. Cole with some calculated strikes, but Brienne is blocking everything. Oh, Brienne with a huge strike. Cole strikes back, but she draws blood. The Kingmaker has a hell of a challenge in front of him today, folks. Look at the masterful swordplay on display here, folks. Realistically, this could go either way. Look at the masterful swordplay on display here. These are 2 masters of their craft if I've ever seen it. Cole's got her backed up, but Brienne doesn't even look phased here. Look at her composure. Is she on holiday? Back and forth they strike, each waiting for the right moment. Cole's moving her back toward the wall again. But he's going to have to do something here. You can't win completely on luck. Cole draws blood. But Brienne with a thunderous blow. Cole's not giving up. Oh, it's over. She lands a heavy strike on the Kingmaker, sending him crumbling to the ground. Unbelievable. Brienne of Tarth will be moving on to round 3. And just like that, the first half of round 2 comes to a thunderous close. And now, a duel drawn from the very core of Westerosi legend. Grace against grit. Dawn-forged steel against a lifetime of unbroken resolve. Representing the ancient might of Dawn, the Sword of the Morning. A knight whose very name turns battles into songs and whose blade has tasted destiny, Sir Arthur Dayne. And his challenger, the Blackfish, a commander of iron discipline, a defender of river and realm, a warrior who has never bent to fear, crown or circumstance, Sir Brynden Tully. Elegance against endurance, a sunrise blade against a river that never yields. One born of prophecy, one carved from perseverance itself. Arthur Dayne versus Brynden Tully. Let the fight begin! Sir Arthur strikes first. Back and forth they both strike. Oh! Brynden Tully has drawn blood. I can't believe it. Look at these 2 go. One strike after another. Now Sir Arthur is on the offensive. I wouldn't want to be opposite of him in a fight. But the Blackfish isn't backing down. Now they're both moving up the causeway. This one could get interesting here, folks. Arthur thrusts, but the Blackfish dodges. He sure is aggressive today, folks. Oh, the Blackfish. Oh, Arthur draws blood. Heavy strikes back and forth now. Arthur's still the massive favourite. Oh, Arthur knocks Brynden back. Who is it going to be? The Blackfish or the Sword of the Morning? Only one will move on. Brynden strikes. Now Arthur. He missed. Now Brynden. Oh, his shield just exploded. Oh, Dayne connects. And Brynden knocks Everyone's bets are safe. Sir Arthur Dayne will be moving on to round 3. And now, a collision between venom and darkness. A duel of killers whose reputations slither through tavern tales and whispered nightmares alike. Representing the blazing sun of dawn, the Red Viper, a prince, a poet of poisons, a dancer whose spear moves faster than secrets can be spoken, Oberyn Martell, and his challenger, the Shadow of Braavos, a giant draped in silence, an executioner whose steps fall like the end of a heartbeat, Sandok the Shadow. Speed against silence, poison against power. A serpent meets a spectre in the sand. Oberyn Martell versus Sandok the Shadow. Let the fight begin. Oberyn strikes first, and again. This one should be interesting, folks. A little hesitation from both sides now. And Oberyn connects. But Sandok's got him backed up to the wall. I don't know how effective that spear will be here. Sandok strikes blocked. Oh, but that one lands. The Shadow is keeping the Viper pinned. That's got to be his best strategy. Oh, another one connects. The Red Viper isn't going to back down, though. I can't lie, folks. I actually expected more from Sandok. His reputation is legend. Sandok connects. Oh, the Shadow moves just in time. But he's keeping Oberyn right where he wants him. Oh, Oberyn's strike connects. Oh, Sandok draws blood. What a thrust. And a heavy strike from Oberyn. Oberyn's backing away from the wall. He needs open space. Oh, another strike connects. This is the Red Viper's chance. Wow, the Shadow is fast, folks. Sandok blocks. And he dodges just in time. And his strike lands. Again! How is Oberyn still standing? Oh, another for Oberyn. Sandok's backing him up to the other wall now. That wall is really affecting Oberyn. He just doesn't seem to have his usual mobility. But he sneaks one in. That was smooth. Oh, Sandok draws blood again. Now Oberyn has the Shadow backed up. This could change everything. Oh, Sandok with some heavy strikes. Gods, Oberyn is taking shot after shot. How could he possibly still be standing? He blocks. Gods, I thought that was it. Oh, Oberyn knocks him back. The Red Viper is swinging like a madman now. Gods, I can't believe it. It's over. Oberyn Martell has cut down the Shadow. I can't believe my eyes. What just happened? Oberyn Martell will be moving on to round 3. And now, a clash of bitter steel and silver prophecy. Two men shaped in fire, but driven by very different destinies. Representing the Blackfyre legacy, the relentless spearhead of rebellion, the hardened warrior whose fury never cooled, Aegor Bittersteel Rivers, and his challenger, the Silver Prince, a dreamer born with a sword in hand, a prodigy whose every step carries the weight of ancient songs, Rhaegar Targaryen. Rage against prophecy, fury against fate. The hammer of rebellion meets the harp of destiny. Aegor Rivers versus Rhaegar Targaryen. Let the fight begin. Aegor thrusts, but Rhaegar counters. Aegor's got the prince backed up. A huge shot. Oh, Rhaegar counters again, and Rhaegar draws blood, but he's backed up. Oh, Rhaegar spins around Aegor, but Bittersteel connects, and back and forth they go in a flurry of strikes. Rhaegar swings, but Aegor connects. This one could go either way here, folks. All it takes is the right strike. Aegor's got Rhaegar backed up to the wall. A hard thrust by Aegor, but Rhaegar's swinging back. And Rhaegar counters, but Bittersteel's still up. And Rhaegar knocks him back, but Aegor's swinging back. Oh! He knocks Rhaegar back now! Neither of these two are giving an inch! Rhaegar counters again! A little back and forth, oh! Rhaegar spins! Oh! Aegon draws blood! Look at how calculated they are, folks! Strike after strike! Both are just waiting for the right moment! Oh! A huge thrust from Aegon! Rhaegar counters! Ouch, that has got to hurt! But Aegon connects with that one! Aegon is on the offensive here! Oh, that one connected before Rhaegar could move! Oh, Aegon knocks him back! Aegon with a heavy strike! He's swinging wildly now! Now he's off balance! Oh! Rhaegar shattered Aegon's shield! Is this his moment? Aegon isn't backing down a bit! Oh! Rhaegar knocks him back! These two are just teeing off on each other! Only one of them will move on! It looks like they're moving up the steps now! Or maybe not! Rhaegar looks like he's got himself planted to that step! Oh, it's over! Rhaegar slays Bittersteel! I can't believe it! Rhaegar Targaryen will be moving on to round 3! And now, ice meets wildfire! A clash drawn from two lineages carved to dominate, command and conquer, representing the frozen north, the Wolf of Winter, a lord whose honor cuts sharper than any blade, whose justice once reshaped the realm itself, Cregan Stark, and his challenger, the Rogue Prince, a dragon-blooded whirlwind, a rider of flame and fury, a warrior who bends the world through sheer will, Prince Daemon Targaryen, winter against wildfire, discipline against defiance, a wolf bares its fangs to a dragon unchained. Cregan Stark versus Daemon Targaryen. Let the fight begin! The wolf and the dragon collide! Daemon misses! Again! Wow, that blade is massive! Oh, Cregan connects again! Oh, there goes Daemon's shield! That's not good for him, folks! Oh, did he get out of the way in time? I don't think he did. I think the Rogue Prince is... Oh, Cregan connects again and again. This isn't going to take long at this rate. Daemon's got him backed up, though. Gods, and just like that, it's over. Cregan has cut down the Rogue Prince. Cregan Stark will be moving on to round 3. And now... a confrontation between pure chivalry and shadowed sorcery. A duel between two legends who shaped the realm in starkly different ways. Representing the King's Guard of old, the living embodiment of honor, courage, and flawless skill, Sir Barristan the Bold. And his challenger, the last Green Seer in the making, the King's Spymaster, the albino terror, feared in every hall of power, Brynden Bloodraven Rivers, light against shadow, valor against vision, the purest blade faces the darkest mind, Barristan Selmy versus Bloodraven, let the fight begin! Barristan strikes first, but Bloodraven strikes right back, over and over! Oh, that thrust connected! Now Barristan's on the offensive, delivering a number of strikes. Oh, Bloodraven connects again with that thrust. That sure is a sneaky little move there. But Barristan isn't backing down a bit. Barristan is bringing down some heavy strikes. That one knocked him off balance. Bloodraven is... Oh, there goes Bloodraven's shield. And here we go, folks. Blade versus blade. This is a fight. Barristan draws blood. And Bloodraven connects. One of these two men will move. Oh, Barristan connects again to the 7 gods. I don't think Bloodraven can take much more. Barristan moves. Oh, it's over. Barristan the Bold has cut down Bloodraven. Barristan Barristan Selmy will be moving on to round 3. And now, a duel of golden skill. 2 knights worshipped by bards, feared by foes, and envied by every man who's ever dreamed of glory. Representing the fertile might of the Reach, the Knight of Flower's elder brother, a commander as brilliant as he is, deadly, Sir Garland Tyrell, and his challenger, the Lion of Lannister, the Golden Prodigy, the King's Slayer, the finest swordsman of his age, before fate played its cruel hand, Sir Jaime Lannister. Precision against reputation, honor earned against honor, shattered. The Rose meets the Lion, each hungry to reclaim legacy. Garland Tyrell versus Jaime Lannister. Let the fight begin. Jaime strikes first, and now they're both striking back and forth. Oh, Garland draws blood. I didn't see that coming so soon. And Garland draws blood again. Gods, again! How is this even possible, folks? I can't believe my eyes. Jaime Lannister looks like a shell of himself. His shield exploded, and he draws blood. What the hell am I even watching? This fight has turned into an absolute bloodbath. Oh, Garland connects again, and now Jaime. Gods, look at these two go. Oh, it's over. The Kingslayer cuts the gallant down. Gods, what a fight. Jaime Lannister will be moving on to round 3. And now, a battle forged from the very roots of Westeros. The old guard against the legendary flame that reshaped the continent, representing the ancient order of the Kingsguard, the White Bull, towering in loyalty and unmatched in strength, Sir Gerald Hightower, and his challenger, the first of his name, the Dragon Lord, who united 7 kingdoms with fire, fury, and resolve unbreakable, Aegon the Conqueror. Duty against dominion, oath against empire. A white tower rises against the shadow of a black crown. Gerald Hightower versus Aegon the Conqueror. Let the fight begin. Aegon strikes first, and again. Oh, he shatters his... Oh, Gerald spins them around. Strike after strike from the White Bull. Now Aegon. Oh, Gerald's strike connects. Again. And another. Gerald is so calculated with his strikes. Oh, now Aegon. And he draws blood and connects again. But Gerald strikes right back. This is what it's all about, folks. 2 men walk in, and only one walks out. Oh, Gerald counters. Did that connect? Oh, Aegon's did. He moved in the nick of time. That was close. Gerald's got Aegon backed up to the wall now. One strike after another. This is some masterful swordplay here, folks. Oh, Gerald connects again. It's over. The Wild Bull cuts down the Conqueror. Unbelievable. Gerald Hightower will be moving on to round 3. And now, a collision of power and precision. A stag against the silent axe of dawn, representing Sunspear, the quiet guardian, the unyielding watchman whose discipline is as lethal as his strike. Areo Hotar, and his challenger, the Hammer of the Stormlands, a king before the crown ever touched his brow, a warrior whose battlefield fury shook kingdoms, Robert Baratheon. Silence against thunder, calculation against raw force. An axe meets a warhammer in the dust of the capital. Areo Hotar versus Robert Baratheon. Let the fight begin! The captain of the guard against the demon of the trident. Robert strikes first. Robert shatters Areo's shield, but Areo isn't backing down. Oh, a huge strike from Robert. Now he's got Areo backed up to the wall. Another huge strike from Robert. He isn't giving Areo a second to breathe. Oh, Areo moves just in time, but Robert is laying down some heavy strikes. Another strike connects. Robert is swinging like a madman. Oh, Areo with a huge strike, but Robert isn't even phased. Oh, Robert's hammer is almost an extension of himself. Oh, that's it! It's over! The Demon of the Trident destroys Areo Hotar. Robert Baratheon will be moving on to round 3. And just like that, the second half of round 2 of the Colossal Tournament of King's Landing comes to a thunderous close. And now, a clash born of fire and fury. The blood of conquest against the brute strength of the Hound himself. A duel where dynasties tremble and steel decides what legacy truly means. Representing the might of House Blackfyre, a warrior king in the making, a conqueror forged by rebellion and destiny, Daemon Blackfyre. And his challenger, a scarred titan who seems to survive every hell the world dares to throw at him, Sandor Clegane. Royal ambition against raw brutality, a dragon's wrath against a hound unleashed. Daemon Blackfyre versus Sandor Clegane. Let the fight begin! Sandor strikes first, but Daemon strikes back. Oh, that shot landed. Sandor strikes, it's blocked. Oh, Daemon connects. Daemon strikes. The Hound connects. Now Daemon. This one is starting with a bang, folks. Another back and forth. Look at them go. Now these two are teeing off on each other. One strike after another. Oh, Sandor counters. And he connects. And he knocks Daemon back. Wow, that was a huge strike. Oh, Daemon connects again. The Hound won't be able to put Daemon down that easily. Oh, Sandor draws blood. Daemon doesn't even look phased. Oh, Sandor counters again. Will he be able to move on? Another huge strike from Sandor. Sandor strikes. Oh, Daemon connects with a huge strike. And Daemon is on the offensive now. He's got the Hound backed up to the wall. Daemon blocks. Oh, the Hound counters again. But look at Daemon. There is no giving up in this man. Gods, those are some heavy strikes. Sandor with a huge block. Sandor connects. Now Daemon. Gods, folks. I have no idea how this one is going to end. Oh, Daemon draws blood. The Hound is having a tough time now. Can he get himself out of it? It'll be up to him, I guess. Oh, the Hound counters. Can he finish this? Daemon knocks him back. Sandor spins them around. Is this his moment? And around they go again. Who is going to move on? Sandor is swinging wildly. Gods, it's over. I can't believe it. Daemon cut down the Hound. What a fight to start off the third round. Daemon Blackfyre will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel where the old songs meet the salt winds. A night of impossible honor, standing against the storm-forged Reaver of the Iron Fleet. Steel against salt, oath against thunder, representing the realm's greatest chivalry. A giant of a man, humble in heart, but unmatched in might. Sir Duncan the Tall. And his challenger, the Iron Captain himself, a warlord of smoke and screams, Victarion Greyjoy. Chivalric strength against drowned god fury, a towering shield against an unstoppable storm. Duncan the Tall versus Victarion Greyjoy. Let the fight begin! Dunk strikes first, and again. Dunk hesitates, and a thrust. Victarion strikes, but he misses, and Dunk strikes right back. Victarion's got Dunk backed up to the wall, though. Oh, Dunk connects. Dunk with a heavy strike. Victarion's only struck once, but he still seems to be controlling this fight. Dunk is backed up again. He needs to get himself away from that wall. Dunk knocks him back. Oh, Victarion connects again, and he misses. And Victarion knocks him back. Now Dunk connects, but Victarion is back on the offensive again. It's like his aura is keeping Dunk at a distance, but that might just fit into Dunk's strategy. Dunk knocks Victarion back again. Oh, Victarion connects. Duncan with a heavy strike. Who is it going to be? Only one of these two will be moving on. Dunk is swinging with precision. Both men are waiting for the right strike. Dunk swinging. Oh, Dunk draws blood. Victarion striking back. Oh, it's over. Dunk has cut down the Iron Captain with some calculated strikes. Duncan the Tall will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of honor defined. The very pinnacle of Targaryen knighthood against the exiled Bear of the North. A battle where technique, tragedy, and loyalty collide, representing legend itself, the Dragon Knight, a lover, a protector, a warrior whose name burns brightest in the histories, Prince Aemon Targaryen, and his challenger, a man of hard lessons and heavier regrets, a veteran forged in exile but steadied by resolve, Jorah Mormont. Perfected chivalry against hardened experience, a dragon's grace against a bear's grit. Aemon the Dragon Knight versus Jorah Mormont. Let the fight begin! Aemon strikes first. Now Jorah. Back and forth they strike. Oh, Jorah moves. He's on the offensive now. Aemon's backed up to the wall. Oh, Jorah shatters Aemon's shield. Jorah is a true underdog. Oh, Aemon connects. Aemon knocks him back now. Oh, Aemon connects with multiple strikes. I can't believe Jorah is still standing. I won't count Jorah out though. He has been full of surprises in every fight so far. Oh, Jorah connects. Gods, these two are landing some heavy strikes. Either of them could fall at any moment. Oh, Jorah again. Look at those blocks from Aemon. That confidence cannot be taught. It's earned. Oh, Jorah with a huge shot. There you have it, folks. Now we've got ourselves a fight. We've got some calculated strikes on display here, folks. Oh, Aemon draws blood. Look at these two go. The swordplay on display here is almost an art form. Regardless of who wins, these two both deserve our respect. Jorah's got Aemon backed up to the wall again. Can he do the impossible again? Aemon misses. Wow, that was close. And Jorah with a huge strike. Back and forth, they're at it again. This one could end at any time. All it takes is a single strike. Who is going to do it? Gods, it's over! Jorah snuck in a precise thrust and has done the impossible. He beat the Dragon Knight. Jorah Mormont will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel shaped by sheer force and unbreakable spirit. The wild fury of the free folk against the unyielding honor of the Sapphire Isle. Strength meets strength. Will meets will. Representing the free folk, a legend in his own right, a war leader whose laughter rings as loud as his victories, Tormund Giantsbane, and his challenger, a knight in all but name, a beacon of loyalty and a warrior whose determination crushes doubt itself, Brienne of Tarth. Wild might against disciplined power, A storm of the north against an immovable shield. Tormund Giantsbane versus Brienne of Tarth. Let the fight begin! Tormund connects with a thrust. And we're off! Back and forth they strike. Oh, Tormund connects again! This should be electric, folks! Tormund's aggressive style should be a huge test for the Maiden of Tarth. Tormund's keeping her backed up to the wall. Oh, Tormund connects with another thrust. Now Brienne! Another strike lands. Brienne looks confident as usual, but Tormund connects again. Tormund knocks her back, but Brienne strikes hard. Another back and forth. This one is heating up. Tormund's swinging like a madman, but Brienne moves. Again. Oh, Tormund knocks her back again. Only one can move on. Will it be the red-haired legend from north of the wall, or will it be the she-knight from Tarth? Tormund connects again. Wow! Brienne is throwing some heavy strikes. Tormund's strike lands again. Her armor is the only thing saving her ass. Oh, a huge strike from Brienne. Brienne's getting away from the wall now, but Tormund's got her backed up again. This could be devastating. She needs to get some space. A huge shot from Tormund. And Tormund is swinging wildly. Oh, Brienne shattered his shield. Could this be the difference maker? Brienne thrusts, and Tormund misses. Oh, a huge shot from Brienne. And Tormund misses a huge strike. Brienne draws blood, but Tormund isn't backing down. Oh, it's over. Gods! Brienne of Tarth cuts down Tormund Giantsbane. What a fight! Brienne of Tarth will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of Sunfire and Starlight. The most dangerous spear in Dornish history against the most perfect blade Westeros ever forged. Speed against precision, fury against form, representing Dorne itself. Known to many as the greatest swordsman to ever live, the Sword of the Morning, Sir Arthur Dayne. And his challenger, a prince, poisoner, whirlwind of vengeance and brilliance, the Red Viper of Dawn, Oberyn Martell. A sunrise blade against a spear dipped in vengeance, elegance against lethal unpredictability. Arthur Dayne versus Oberyn Martell. Let the fight begin. Oberyn connects, but Dayne responds with a wicked strike. The Red Viper against the Sword of the Morning. Who will move on? Oberyn strikes, but Dayne pushes him back to the wall. Oberyn has struggled in this position in the past. Dayne is swinging some calculated strikes. He makes it look so easy, like his sword is just an extension of himself. Dayne connects, but Oberyn isn't fazed. The Red Viper waits for the right moment to strike, and he connects. But Dayne strikes again. Dayne connects again. Oberyn's got himself free of the wall. He needs to get some space, but Dayne is swinging with precision. Dayne landed another strike, and Dayne has him backed up to the wall again. Look at Oberyn, move like a snake in the sand. Oh, Dayne with a heavy strike. And again, can Oberyn get himself out of this? No matter how fast Oberyn moves, Dayne is just faster. This man is unbelievable, folks. Dayne lands another. Is this it? Oberyn can't reposition. Dayne lands with a heavy strike. How is Oberyn still standing? This is unbelievable. Dayne lands again. Now Oberyn. God, I can't believe this. Somehow the Red Viper of Dawn is still up. Dayne has been dominating, but Oberyn continues to survive. Oh, it's over. Dayne cuts down Oberyn. That fight was incredible. How did did Oberyn last that long? Arthur Dayne will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel carved from the heart of Westerosi myth. Fireborn royalty set against the last true wolf of ancient winter. Prophecy clashes with primordial strength. Representing the Silver Dragon, a prince of prophecy, a warrior poet whose skill was matched only by his sense of destiny, Rhaegar Targaryen. And his challenger, a lord carved from ice and iron, the old wolf whose honor and judgment shaped the realm itself, Cregan Stark. Fire's finesse against winter's wrath, elegance against unbreakable resolve. Rhaegar Targaryen versus Cregan Stark. Let the fight begin. Cregan strikes first. Gods! How is it possible for him to use a blade that size? Rhaegar's backing him up. A huge strike from Cregan. Rhaegar backpedals and Cregan knocks him back. Cregan again. Rhaegar is holding his own right now. Can he be the one that stops the wolf? Cregan has been nearly unstoppable in the tournament so far. Oh, Cregan with a hard thrust. And Cregan swinging wildly. Rhaegar's keeping him against the wall. But can he get the killing blow? Cregan with a heavy strike. Oh, Cregan knocks Rhaegar back again. Gods, listen to the sound of ice hitting Rhaegar's shield. I don't know how he can hold on to it. Oh, Cregan connects again. But the Dragon Prince isn't backing down. I think it's time, folks. This is a fight. These two are just teeing off on each other. One strike after another. Cregan knocks him back again. Now Rhaegar's pushing him back toward the wall again. Did Cregan connect with that one? Rhaegar strikes, but Cregan connects again. You've got to commend Rhaegar though, folks. He hasn't shown a single ounce of fear. I would be absolutely terrified. Cregan brings ice down with some heavy force. Oh, he got him! It's over! Cregan cuts Rhaegar down. Cregan Stark will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel between two of the greatest swords ever to walk the Seven Kingdoms. Age-honed mastery against golden brilliance in his prime. A battle of legends living and breathing before us, representing unmatched honor. A man with skills of a blade that have become legend, the bold himself, Sir Barristan Selmy. And his challenger, dazzling, deadly, arrogant, yet undeniably one of the finest warriors of his age, the Kingslayer, Jaime Lannister. Perfect discipline against prodigious talent. A lifetime of mastery against the spark of genius. Barristan Selmy versus Jaime Lannister. Let the fight begin. Jaime strikes, but Barristan counters. Back and forth they strike, Jaime misses. This one could be very interesting. Jaime strikes and Barristan counters again. Barristan draws blood, but Jaime connects. Oh, Barristan missed. Back and forth they strike. Jaime connected again. Gods, another. Jaime is giving Barristan a challenge now. Jaime with a brutal thrust, but Barristan is striking back. Gods, folks, this is what we came for. Two of the best at their craft. Only one will move on. But the question remains, who is the better swordsman? Oh, Jaime lands a huge strike. Oh, Barristan spins them around. Is this it? He dodges, and a miss. Jaime connects, and he draws blood again. Barristan connects. He lands another. Gods, Barristan is swinging away now, folks. Strike after strike. I don't know if Jaime can take much more of this. Barristan with a brutal thrust. Oh, another strike lands. It's over. What a fight. here. Barristan Selmy will be moving on to round 4. And now, a duel of crushing force and absolute resolve. The White Bull of the Kingsguard standing against the storm-crowned fury of House Baratheon. Honor meets unstoppable power. Representing the purest ideals of knighthood, a commander whose discipline was as unyielding as his blade. The White Bull, Sir Gerald Hightower. And his challenger, a conqueror whose strength shattered crowns and armies alike. The Demon of the Trident, Robert Baratheon. Unbreakable duty against overwhelming might. A shield of honor against a storm of steel. Gerald Hightower versus Robert Baratheon. Let the fight begin! Gerald strikes, but Robert strikes back. Gerald isn't backing down though, folks. Robert again. Oh, Robert shatters Gerald's shield. Back and forth they strike. Only one of these two will move on. Robert's got him backed up to the wall. Can Gerald get himself out of this? Robert with a huge strike, but Gerald counters. Here we go. The White Bull against the Demon of the Trident. Oh, Gerald draws blood, but Robert isn't fazed a bit. Gerald connects and knocks him back. Gerald sidesteps. Robert misses a heavy strike. Gerald spins them around. I don't know what's going to happen here. This one could end at any moment, folks. Hammer versus blade. All it takes is a single swing. Oh, a huge strike from Robert. Gerald's backed up to the wall. He needs to get himself out of this. Oh, Robert draws blood. Gods, how did his chest not cave in? Gerald counters again. Gods, folks, who's it going to be? Oh, a brutal thrust from Gerald. Robert knocks him back again. But Gerald knocks Robert back now. Business is picking up now, folks. We've got ourselves a fight. Look at how aggressive Robert is, folks. Can Gerald stop him? Gerald connects. And Robert draws blood again. But Gerald counters again. Gods, how is Robert still standing after that? This is unbelievable. And Robert isn't backing down a bit. The Demon is earning his name today. Gerald counters again. But Robert isn't giving him room to breathe. The Stag King is overwhelming the White Bull here. Shot after shot, and he just keeps going. Which of these two want it more? Robert connects, but Gerald counters again. If Robert wants it, he's going to have to earn it. Gerald swinging wildly now. Oh, it's over. Robert caved in his helm. What an incredible fight. Robert Baratheon will be moving on to round 4. And just like that, round 3 of the Colossal tournament of King's Landing comes to a thunderous close. And now, a clash fit for the songs of 100 kingdoms. The Black Dragon against the Rising Giant, representing the legacy of House Targaryen and the might of the Blackfyre line. A warrior who has cut down every challenger placed before him. In round 2, he dominated Jon Snow in a ruthless display of precision and power. In round 3, he went to war with Sandor Clegane, surviving the Hound's fury and emerging victorious in one of the round's fiercest duels. A conqueror in the making, blade in hand, destiny blazing behind him. Daemon Blackfyre. And his challenger, a knight whose legend grows taller with every passing round. In round 2, he humbled Maekar Targaryen with patient skill and towering resolve. In round 3, he controlled every heartbeat of his duel with Victarion Greyjoy, outmatching the Ironborn Reaver at every turn. A gentle spirit with a warrior's strength, a hero hewn from honor itself. Sir Duncan the Tall, the Black Dragon versus the Gentle Giant. Royal fury against unbreakable heart. A duel that will echo through the walls of this arena for centuries to come. Daemon Blackfyre versus Duncan the Tall. Let the fight begin. Dunk strikes. Now Daemon. Oh, Dunk counters. Daemon blocks. Oh, Dunk counters again. A quick back and forth. And Dunk counters again. You can feel it in the air, folks. Both of these guys want this more than anything. But Dunk counters again. Wow, the technical skill displayed by Dunk so far is incredible. Daemon strikes, but Dunk spins them both around. Daemon strikes again, but Dunk counters, bashing his pommel into the Black Dragon's face. Daemon isn't backing down for a second though, folks. Gods, Dunk is putting on a show today. Oh, Daemon with a huge strike. Back and forth, they both strike. Here we go, folks. Only one moves on. Will it be Daemon Blackfyre or Duncan the Tall? Daemon's pushing Dunk back toward the wall. Oh, a huge shot from Dunk. Daemon strikes. Dunk swinging wildly, but he can't seem to get himself away from the wall. And Daemon connects. Now Dunk is swinging again. But Daemon, oh, Duncan counters again. Dunk strikes, but Daemon lands a huge shot. Who's it going to be, folks? Daemon is swinging calculated strikes now. Oh, Daemon got him. It's over. Somehow Daemon got through Dunk's guard. Daemon Blackfyre will be moving on to the final four. And now, the clash no one predicted. The unstoppable underdog against the unshakable knight, representing the exiled House of Bear Island. A man the realm counted out before the first sword was drawn. In round one, he shocked Westeros by upsetting Lionel Baratheon in a stunning, relentless duel. In round two, he did the impossible again, defeating Baelor Breakspear, one of the tournament's most celebrated warriors. And in round three, he achieved what many thought unthinkable, overcoming Aemon the Dragon Knight himself in a miracle of heart, grit, and sheer refusal to fall. The realm whispers his name now with disbelief and admiration, Sir Jorah Mormont. And his challenger, the Sapphire Knight of Tarth, a warrior whose journey has been as commanding as it has been inspiring. In round one, she convincingly overpowered Great John Umber with unshakable precision and strength. In round two, she dominated Criston Cole, dismantling one of Westeros' most legendary Kingsguard with disciplined steel and unyielding resolve. And in round three, she endured a brutal, punishing struggle to claim a hard-fought victory over Tormund Giantsbane, proving her courage matches her ferocity. Unbreakable, unyielding, the embodiment of honor and might in equal measure. Brienne of Tarth, the underdog who refuses to die, against the knight who refuses to break. A duel of heart, steel, and the raw will to survive. Jorah Mormont versus Brienne of Tarth. Let the fight begin! Jorah strikes first, but Brienne strikes back with precision. Oh, Jorah counters! This one is going to be interesting, folks. Brienne strikes, but Jorah thrusts back. Brienne's presence is astounding, folks, and he lands a strike. Oh, now Brienne! Gods, these two are just teeing off on each other. Who is going to move on to the final four? Oh, Jorah with a huge strike, and another! And Jorah counters again. The ultimate underdog is giving it everything he's got. But look at Brienne. She doesn't even look the slightest bit rattled. Oh, Brienne connects. Now Jorah strikes. But Brienne connects again. And Jorah connects with multiple strikes. Gods, I don't know if Brienne's been hit with that many shots through the whole tournament. Oh, Jorah counters again. Another back and forth. Oh, that's it. It's over. Brienne cuts down Jorah and ends his impossible run. What a fight. Brienne of Tarth will be moving on to the final four. And now, a duel carved from the very peak of Westerosi legend, prophecy-forged steel against the iron will of the North, representing the ancient might of House Dayne, a knight whose name is spoken with reverence from Sunspear to the Wall. In round 2, he dominated Brynden Tully, cutting through one of the realm's most seasoned commanders with almost effortless precision. In round 3, he delivered another masterclass, controlling the duel against Oberyn Martell from start to finish, weathering the Viper's speed and striking with dawn-bright finality. Flawless, relentless, a blade that shines with destiny. Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, and his challenger, the Wolf of Winter, a northern tempest, whose path has been marked by ferocity and fate. In round 1, he dominated Khal Drogo, stopping the Great Khal's whirlwind assault with unshakable power. In round 2, his sword, cold, certain, unforgiving, proved the difference against Daemon Targaryen, breaking the Blackfyre Prince's advance. And in round 3, he survived one of the tournament's great trials, outlasting Rhaegar Targaryen in a duel of endurance, heart, and northern grit. Stoic, ruthless, a storm in human form, Cregan Stark. A sunrise blade against the Winter Wolf, destiny against defiance. A duel worthy of the final 8. Arthur Dayne versus Cregan Stark. Let the fight begin! Dayne strikes first, but Cregan strikes back, and he draws blood. Ice has been the difference maker for Cregan through the whole tournament. Can Arthur stop the wolf from the north? Oh, Cregan draws blood again, but Dayne isn't backing down. He's keeping Cregan backed up to the wall. It's worked against Oberyn, and it may be his best chance in this fight. Now Dayne looks to be waiting for the right moment, and now Dayne's on the move. He's swinging with precision, folks. That wall seems to be affecting Cregan now. Dayne strikes, but Cregan connects. Oh, Cregan connects again. They're moving toward the center now. Oh, Dayne counters. Only one gets to move on to the final 4. Oh, Cregan lands another heavy shot. Now Dayne connects, but that isn't going to rattle Cregan easily. Dayne is still commanding the fight though, folks. Cregan knocks Dayne back. There you have it, folks. We've got ourselves a fight. Oh, Dayne connects again. Cregan connects, and he knocks Dayne back again. But look at Dayne. He's got the wolf against the wall again. Dayne's got to overwhelm him. That might be his only chance. Oh, Dayne counters again. Can he finish this? Dayne's on the offensive again. Dayne's pushing them back. Oh, Cregan got him. It's over. The wolf cut down the Sword of the Morning. I can't believe it. Cregan Stark will be moving on to the final 4. And now, a clash of living legends. The finest knight of his age against the storm that shook a kingdom, representing the White Cloak's highest ideal, a man whose honor has shaped eras. In round 2, he masterfully defeated Bloodraven, dismantling the sorcerer strategist with flawless timing and unmatched swordcraft. In round 3, he entered a storm of steel and emerged triumphant, winning a bloody, grueling battle against Jaime Lannister, proving once more why he is called the Bold, precise, unbreakable, the embodiment of knighthood, Sir Barristan Selmy, and his challenger, the Fury of Storm's End, a warrior whose strength is the stuff of tavern boasts and battlefield legend. In round 2, he dominated Ario Hotar, overwhelming Dawn's silent giant with raw, crushing force. In round 3, he delivered another feat of brutality, defeating Gerald Hightower in a clash of titans, breaking the White Bull's guard through sheer power and relentless aggression. Explosive, fearless, a storm given flesh, Robert Baratheon, the greatest knight of his age, against the greatest warrior of his generation. Honor against fury, technique against power. Barristan Selmy versus Robert Baratheon. Let the fight begin! Barristan strikes first. Oh, Barristan draws blood. Robert strikes. Oh, Barristan draws blood again. Robert's trying to overwhelm him now, folks. That's his usual strategy. Oh, Barristan counters. Robert swings, but Barristan spins them around. But Robert is on the offensive now. The Stag King knows he needs to end this quickly to move on. Oh, Barristan counters again, and he draws blood again. Barristan is like an artist that only paints with red. Robert swinging wildly, and he knocks Barristan back. Oh, another huge strike, and Barristan counters again, and he lands a strike on the Stag. Barristan knocks him back now, and another huge strike from Barristan. Robert swings, but Barristan counters. Barristan is something else to watch. Who is going to be the one to move on? Barristan strikes. Robert knocks Barristan back, but Barristan counters again. Oh, Barristan draws blood again and again. Another heavy strike from the bold. Robert's keeping him against the wall, but Barristan counters again. Another counter from the bold. His level of skill is almost unmatched, folks. Robert swings. Gods, those were some heavy strikes. Barristan is still up, folks. Oh, that was a huge thrust from Barristan. Oh, Barristan got him. It's over. Barristan took down the Stag King. What a fight. Barristan Selmy will be moving on to the final four. And now, only 4 remain. From the 48 legends who first entered this arena, these are the warriors who carved, fought, bled, and willed their way to the very edge of immortality. Daemon Blackfyre, Brienne of Tarth, Cregan Stark, and Barristan Selmy, the final 4. The survivors of every trial, every clash, every impossible opponent. Whatever happens next, they have earned the respect of all of Westeros. And now, the road to the finals begins. 2 fights stand between these champions and the greatest duel in tournament history. First, a clash of pure legend and unbreakable resolve, representing the legacy of Conquest, a prince forged for battle, the warrior who carries the might of Blackfyre itself, Daemon Blackfyre. Facing him, the Sapphire Knight, who has silenced every doubt, shattered every expectation, and fought her way through giants, killers, and champions, Brienne of Tarth. A duel of destiny and conviction. The Dragon Prince against the Knight who refuses to yield. Daemon Blackfyre versus Brienne of Tarth. Let the fight begin! Brienne thrusts, but Daemon connects with a huge strike. Here we go, folks. Only one of these 2 will move on to the finals. Gods, Daemon is swinging wildly now. He has been a force thus far, folks, but so has Brienne. Oh, she connects. These 2 have been perfect so far in this tournament. Oh, and Daemon connects again. Brienne isn't backing down, though. The Maiden of Tarth is going to do whatever it takes to win this. Oh, Daemon connects again. Back and forth, they both strike. And Daemon connects with a heavy strike, but Brienne lands a strike right back. Gods, Brienne striking with ferocity. Oh, Daemon connects again. Who is it going to be, folks? The Black Dragon or the Maiden of Tarth? Oh, Brienne counters, and she connects again. Brienne knocks Daemon back, but Daemon lands another strike. these two will be heading to the finals. Who will it be? Brienne's on the offensive now. If she can get him backed up to the wall, she may have a chance. Brienne with a perfect dodge. Oh, Daemon connects with a huge strike. He's keeping himself off the wall. Brienne spins them both around. And she lands another strike. What a fight it's been so far. Oh, Brienne connects, but Daemon connects right back. She counters again, and she lands a strike. But Daemon connects again. I've got to be honest here, folks. How in the world are either of these two still standing? These are some devastating strikes being displayed here. Daemon connects, and he draws blood, and he connects again with a thunderous strike. Oh, it's over! Daemon got her with a huge thrust. That fight was unbelievable. Daemon Blackfyre will be moving on to the final round. And now, a duel carved from the heart of Westerosi legend, representing the unyielding North. A wolf whose strength, discipline, and ice-cold resolve have carried him through warlords, princes, and dragons themselves. Cregan Stark. Facing him, the living embodiment of honor, precision, and flawless steel, the knight whose every victory has reaffirmed his place among the greatest to ever draw breath, Sir Barristan Selmy. A clash of will and mastery. Winter-forged fury against the purest blade the Kingsguard ever known. Cregan Stark versus Barristan Selmy. Let the fight begin! Barristan strikes. Now Cregan, but Barristan counters, and he lands a strike and another. Barristan is swinging with precision here, folks. Cregan strikes, but Barristan counters again. Barristan's level of skill is mesmerizing to watch, folks. Oh, Cregan connects. Oh, Cregan draws blood. Barristan's got him backed up to the wall, and Barristan counters again. Can Barristan keep the wolf against the wall? That is his best chance against the massive Stark blade. Oh, Barristan counters again. His speed is something special, even at his age. It looks like Cregan has himself free of the wall now. He's been unstoppable so far, but Barristan is definitely his toughest challenge yet. Back and forth they strike, and Barristan knocks him back. He's backing Cregan up. Oh, Cregan lands a monstrous strike, but Barristan's got him backed up to the wall again. Only one of these two will move on to the final round. Who will it be? The Wolf of the North, or one of the most decorated members of the Kingsguard? Oh, Cregan draws blood. That was a brutal strike, folks. Another back and forth. And Barristan connects. And another. Oh, Barristan draws blood with a hard thrust. And Barristan counters again. Oh, he got him. It's over. Barristan cuts the wolf down with a brutal thrust. What a fight. Barristan Selmy will be moving on to the final round. And now, the moment all of Westeros has waited for. The championship of the Colossal tournament of King's Landing. On one side stands the Black Dragon himself, Daemon Blackfyre, the exiled conqueror who shattered Jon Snow, outlasted Sandor Clegane, and carved his way through the final rounds with the ruthless brilliance of a born king, a warrior whose very name still shakes the foundations of history. And across from him, Sir Barristan the Bold, the living legend of the Kingsguard, the knight who overcame Bloodraven's shadow, out-dueled Jaime Lannister, and proved again and again why he is hailed as one of the greatest to ever lift a blade. Honor, precision, and glory made flesh. Two icons, two eras, one final duel to decide the greatest warrior in the realm. Daemon Blackfyre versus Barristan Selmy. Let the final fight begin. been waiting for, folks. Who will be crowned the winner of the Colossal tournament? Barristan the Bold or the Black Dragon? Back and forth they strike. Oh, Barristan slides. Daemon strikes. Barristan brings his blade down. Oh, Daemon's thrust draws blood. Oh, Barristan counters. Oh, Daemon's strike lands and Barristan connects. Here we go, folks. Now we've got ourselves a fight. And Barristan spins them around. Barristan striking with precision. Again! Oh, Daemon's strike connects. Daemon's on the offensive now. He's pushing Barristan back toward the wall. Barristan's thrust connects. Another back and forth. Oh, Barristan with a brutal thrust. But the Black Dragon isn't backing down a bit. These two know the stakes. Only one can be crowned the champion. And I know they both want it. Oh, Daemon's shot lands. Daemon draws blood. Back and forth they strike. Two of the greatest fighters in history, but only one will earn the top spot. And Barristan counters. Now Barristan's on the offensive, but Daemon's strike connects. Oh, Barristan with some devastating blows. How is Daemon still standing? Oh, Daemon misses. Daemon connects, but Barristan counters, and that connected. Daemon shook, and Barristan knocks him back. Daemon strikes, but Barristan's swinging. Daemon's staying on the defensive, but he's backing Barristan up. Barristan slides back up the stairs. How the hell did he do that? Oh, he got him. That's it. It's over. Daemon cut down Barristan Selmy. What an incredible fight. There you have it, folks. We have found our champion. People of King's Landing, hear us. From every corner of the Seven Kingdoms, the greatest warriors of history answered the call. 48 entered these sands. Only one remained. Through blood, steel, and the roar of this crowd, he climbs, step by step, toward destiny itself. The arena holds its breath. The realm watches as the blade is raised, and a champion is crowned. Behold the victor of the Colossal tournament of King's Landing, Daemon Blackfyre.